think the biggest challenges in the business today is a challenge that everyone shares, which is that the margins are just completely different. You know, the music industry guys did not listen, you know, in the early 80s when Gates and Jobs and all those guys went over to them and said, listen, there's something called the internet, and it's been around since the Cold War. You need to take advantage of this space before it takes advantage of you. And it just unfortunately changed the business so terribly that, like, you know, I don't know how to really explain it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a different world. Like, we used to have like $1 million videos, and now, like, you know, if you get like a video that's like, you know, 300,000 to 400,000, you're like bawling.
It's like $1 million.
Yeah, like what? 100? But the beauty of it is too that there's so many talented new video directors that get things done for like, you know, 80,000, 150, 200. So it's okay, you know, we're not hurting in that way, but the landscape, the business itself is just so completely different. And then for me, these, you know, a lot of the, you know, because these corporations that own these record companies were trying to get their money back, they started to bring in money guys to run the companies. And so, unfortunately, a lot of companies have suffered the fate of having a guy that knows zero about music, probably more about hair pieces, and what their stock is trading at. And they did not know, and they would leverage the music and the creativity in ways that were completely unorthodox to the way the creators, meaning people like, you know, myself as a musician and John as a publisher who used to be like a super sick DJ. I don't know if he still spins, but like, but there's a reason why, you know, music is a medium for people to express their feelings and their respective ideas. When that is being compromised with the way to leverage it to make money, it's going to suffer terribly. And so now what happens is you got a guy who is asking his daughter everything, and you got to listen to, you know, you got to listen to what his little fat daughter thinks about. Luckily, there's nobody I know with a fat daughter. But, you know, by the way, I didn't mean that in a rude way. I didn't. What I'm saying is that, okay, it's so politically incorrect.
What I'm saying is, his music is now defined by what this guy's daughter thinks.
Right. I mean, the average musician, you know, you know that you gotta have that, like, you know, they're like the glorified A&Rs. Like walking and going, oh, I don't know. What do you mean? You leave it online? And I've seen that 1,000 times. And that's such a rude comment. I want everybody in here to forgive me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. But I just mean it like how, you know, this guy is a numbers guy. And he is relying on his children to tell him what's going on. There's a problem with that. Because he himself can't stand behind his idea of what music should be, because his propensity is with numbers. Okay, you take your ass to business affairs and bring in somebody that's creative so that, and unfortunately, some companies are really smart because they keep people like John in, who come in and who know music very well and is just on it. I mean, like, you know, John knows all the new writers. He tells me about them. And that's a guy that cares about music. And if music were to be left to people like this, which is the reason why you run, you know, you're running even at this point. But just across the board, music would not be, the margins wouldn't be so crazy. Now, of course, yes, they need to work on a new paradigm. they need to build one. They need to figure it out and look at the flow of energy and the way things go online and like just out there in the music space, period. But the first thing that they should do is just bring more music and talented people in to judge the music and do what it is that needs to be done. Me personally, I've just seen it 1,000 times where it's like, again, they have numbers guys in there. So what happens is these things lose their value, and then you see all these mergers. And then you see where there was a time where there might have been, let's say, maybe 7 majors at one point, maybe? Six majors. Then those 6 majors, and they go from major to merger. And then you go to a label, and now you see like 4 majors that you knew from before all under the same building. And because they need to cut back on numbers, they cut back on staff. So when they cut back on staff, it's kind of like there's like 29 million producer deals in that building, and there's only like 1 real good promotional staff to work the records. And so it just starts to hurt the business. And that takes me to my final point in my answer, which is, unfortunately, then the guy at the top screams down the food chain and says, dance music's working right now. Go ask Too Short to make a dance record. Can you imagine? Then music gets so crazy, and this is the good part. Then everything sounds like booms, 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 booms. I mean everything, right? Everything. Kids' music, children's music, Barney, everybody. Everybody. So it's cool, because what happens is Tyler, the creator, and our future decide no more. Do you guys not know Tyler, the creator, and our future? And then there's The Weeknd, and then there's Ocean, and groups like MGMT. They go, that's cool, and James from LCD Sound System and all those guys out of in DFA out of Brooklyn, and Santi and Kenna, and all this new music starts to happen. And then, well, that's where we are now, and that's like the good news to me, that like people want other. So I know that was a long ass tractor trailer, you know.
When you speak about the internet and social networking, social media, how do you feel it's important in our business? Does it affect it in a positive way, a negative way?
What's that?
Social media.
Social media is great. You just got to know how to harness it. You know, it's like a car. You know, you need a license for a reason. And unfortunately, a lot of these companies just don't know how to, so they get run over. But you know, when you're properly trained, a car could actually do a lot of great things, like get you home on time, get you home from work, save a life. But if you don't know what you're doing, you'll get run over. And that's unfortunately what it's done, because not like Facebook, those guys could buy the whole entire music industry right now if they wanted to. But they don't want it because they realize it works on, you know, it's very prehistoric minded in terms of the way it's set up. So yes, I think social media is a wonderful way for people to connect in ways that we couldn't before. But, you know, the record companies sort of have to catch up and figure out how to harness that energy and that flow of people and traffic.